The Daily Dribble.
Welcome back to the Daily Dribble podcast, guys. As always, I'm your host, Nick Zammit, here back with the first episode of our NBL show into 2023. Absolutely delighted to be here once again. This time rocking a little bit more of a tan, I think. A little bit of summer sun has done a world of good for me. So, as I said, delighted to be here. Another massive episode. It's been a massive couple of weeks across the NBL. The games have been fast and furious, to say the least. Last game coming up for the regular season on the 5th of February, so it's approaching very, very quickly. A heap of storylines still to play out. Before we get into today's action-packed show, though, guys, a big shout-out to both the Stadium Scene and The Cover. Both those two entities doing fantastic things for not only us, but other content creators out there. So certainly appreciate all their continued work and support for us. And also, if you hadn't seen our most recent episode dropped on the weekend, myself, Rowan Lee, talking about the NBA, if you didn't tune into that one, just want to wish all of our listeners a very Merry Christmas. Hope you guys had a Merry Christmas, should I say, and a great New Year for us. And I hope for you guys, it's certainly going to be the biggest and best year yet in 2023. I know from a basketball perspective, it's shaping up as just a monster. The NBA, so much to look forward to on that front, but the NBL as well. As I said, the last game of the regular season, 5th of February, 4 weeks to go now. It's going to be a hell of a push for the playing spots, and especially for the top two as well. A lot of storylines still to unfold over the last stretch of the season. What we've got in store today, though, guys, is I'm going to rip through a couple of quick odds and ends momentarily. I'm then going to delve into some of who I think are the most underrated players within the league. So I'll touch base. I've got 4 names to rattle through from 4 different teams there. I'd love to hear what you guys think of these ones. Do you agree with me? Are they overrated? Are there other players that you would have had in your list? Have at it in the comments, guys. Okay, let's get into some odds and ends. First and foremost, now this one came more so last week. I just wanted to make note of it, but the Illawarra Hawks, their season has been nothing short of a catastrophe. Compounded this, it's about as bleak as you can get, really. And this was, with their season, the way it's gone thus far, it was compounded with the news that Peyton Seaver, he'll miss the remainder of this season with a shoulder injury. He suited up in 11 games for the team, averaged 9 points, 2 rebounds, 6.5 assists, a steal and a half a game. Fingers crossed for a speedy recovery for him. Hopefully see him fit and firing once returning to the Gong next year. But that's kind of just pretty well how their season's gone. It's almost like the expression, some people just can't have nice things. Well, it's kind of like that for the Hawks at the moment. Injuries, the losses, it's just been the season from hell. So no doubt they're looking forward to it wrapping up in a couple of weeks' time. This one also coming from the week prior, the Wildcats have added former Breakers man Tai Webster. He's suited up for the last couple of games since our last episode and has looked very impressive so far. The brother there, Corey Webster, comes from most recently playing in the Turkish League, where he averaged 8 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, and is certainly going to have a big, big task on his hands as the Wildcats hope to return to postseason basketball. They're in a dicey little predicament at the moment. There's a real logjam from about 4 to 8, with the top 6 teams making the postseason there. The top 2 guaranteed, the following 4 in the play-in. So the Wildcats are nipping on the heels there in 7th, but still going to have a lot of work to do over the coming weeks. So he'll no doubt have a big role to play within this. The Jackjumpers have re-signed Sean MacDonald to a 2-year contract, return of the Mac to a 2-year contract extension. Next season, he'll once again suit up as a development player. Then in 24-25, becoming a full rostered player, which is it's so well deserved. He could have certainly made a case to feature in this episode with players most underrated. I didn't put him in, but that being said, he is so deserving of this extension. He's increased his game time from 3 minutes up to 20 minutes a game this season. He's averaging 6.3 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists on just under a tick under 40% shooting from 3. Again, another player who he does the little things really well. It's those little 1%ers, the energy, hitting the three when it's needed most. It's going to be an interesting little period of time for Coach Scott Roth there, just to work out the minutes with Matt Kenyon coming back, Sam McDaniel coming back, Will Magnay having his minutes slowly ramped up. There's a lot of, I mentioned a point about this a couple of weeks ago, and it's on our socials as well. Check them out: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok. I put up a reel saying that the Jackjumpers had the deepest team within the league, and it's just going to be highlighted by that even more so in the coming weeks now that these names are returning. So, I certainly don't envy Scott Roth there. He is going to have a lot of tough decisions to make. McDaniel and Kenyon made their return to the squad the other night against Melbourne United in that loss. Neither of them suited up, but certainly expect over the coming week or so for that game time to ramp up for those two as well. But yeah, nevertheless, a huge congratulations for Shawnee Mack there. It's just incredible the strides he's made from last season to this season, and really playing pivotal minutes with pivotal output as well. So very well deserved there, mate. Looking forward to seeing you for the coming 2 seasons. Beautiful, guys. After a very, very quick odds and ends there, it's let's move ahead to the main event.
Daily Dribble.
Okay, as I said at the top of the show, I was going to rip through some of my most underrated players within the league. I've got 4 names to mention here. Would love to hear from you guys out there. You've been tremendous as of late, sending in your responses, your thoughts on our episodes. Keep it coming. Hit us up on the Instagram, Facebook, email, any other form of content. Blah, blah, blah. What's the medium I'm looking for? Any form of medium? That's not medium. We'll use medium anyway. Any form of medium you'd like to contact us, we would love to hear from you guys. Tell you what, it's incredible once you have a little bit of a break how rusty you seem. So bear with me on that one. But as I said, 4 players. Let's get into my first play here. Coming from the New Zealand Breakers, I've got Isaiah Liafa. I always get his name mucked up there. Liafa. He has been tremendous this season for the Breakers. Came over last season from Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. He's having a career season in his young career so far, averaging a tick under 13 points, 2.5 rebounds, nearly 3 assists, a steal and a half a game. He's a real impact guy who goes under the radar. Some of the other, the newer, I guess, bigger household name players that the Breakers possess this season, Pardon, Brantley, they're no doubt stealing Abercrombie there, McDowell White taking the limelight. But I think Liafa's one of, if not their sneakiest, most important player. It's tremendous. It was a couple of weeks ago now. I had the privilege of watching him against the Jackjumpers out at My State Bank Arena. He was money. He dropped 21 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, went 4 of 7 from 3, and was without a shadow of a doubt their man of the match. It was a game the Jackjumpers held control for the vast majority, but any shed of hope that the Breakers had really hinged on what Liafa was doing there. So, they haven't guaranteed. Well, they've pretty well guaranteed at least a playing spot at worst, sitting in the guaranteed playoff spot at the moment. But things are shaping up really well for this team, and if they're to go the distance, which every indicator is pointing towards they can, he's going to be a huge part of their plans. I was a big fan of what he was doing with the Phoenix last season, but the strides he's taken this season, the way he fits into their setup, he's almost just got a license to shoot. He is must watch. Loving what he's doing and having that ability from outside with the team they've got around him. It's super, super exciting. So no doubt see big things for him in the coming weeks. Okay, a player that doesn't quite see as much game time is Angus Glover from the Sydney Kings. He's averaging 6 points, 2.5 rebounds, 1 assist. Shoots the 3 ball, though, at an incredible 47% and going from the field at 55%. He's only playing around 15 minutes a game, but in that time, it's really, really positive. He's a plus 4.7 in that time on court. Again, is just a real effort energy guy and does the things well that doesn't show up in the box score. His ability, his tendency to knock down these quality threes in key moments when the game's either there to be won or when the offense is stagnated, it just seems he crops up at the most desired time. And I know being on the opposite end of it as a Jack Jumpers fan, he's certainly dealt a few daggers to us over the course of the last season and a half. But again, you look at the talent that team possesses: Walton Jr., Suarez there, Cooks, Vasiljevic. He's not a name, especially coming off the bench, that gets probably enough love. But he's just a really, really high caliber role guy, and every team needs him. It's, I guess, for the NBL, what are they? 40-minute games, starting 5 throughout the season. You probably play rosters of maybe 10, 11, 12 if you're a bit of a blowout. As it tightens in the playoffs, you're probably looking at a 7 to 8 man roster. Whether he'll fit into that or not for the Kings remains to be seen. But I think given the way he's going, and again, that ability to knock down the 3-ball, don't be surprised to see him play some key minutes in the playoffs there. So Angus Glover is my second player. My third player is none other than the Iceman, Isaac White, the Jack Jumpers sensation. It's quickly becoming a fan sensation, Isaac White. Certainly biased on this one, just given to the fact he is one of, if not our favourite guests we've had on the show here. Just a super, super guy to talk to, so down to earth. Has really been a real bright spark over probably the last month or two. Seeing his game time increase, his output increase. He's averaging 5 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist a game, but shooting 54.5% from 3, which is just bananas. And what I love about him, he is the ultimate hype guy, the ultimate energy guy you could hope for on any team, whether it's on the bench, whether it's on the court, even, outside of, game day. Everything he does is just infectious, and he's just a guy you would want to play with. As I said, he's playing 10 minutes a game at the moment. As with like Sean MacDonald there, it's going to be interesting to see how things unfold with Matt Kenyon and Sam McDaniel coming back to the squad. But he's undoubtedly earned his place. He is probably, over the course of the last couple of weeks, as I said, been one of the MVPs from the Jack Jumpers over that stretch of time. And I don't really think, if you look at him on the bench, it's hard to pick a guy who's more invested than he is. So I certainly hope to see him continue to get minutes, continue to impact the game. As I said, his ability from 3 at the minute, 54.5%, compounded, with what Shawnee Mack's doing there. Forgive me, what did I say? 40%? Yeah, 40%, give or take there. Is just incredible. The ability to have 2 snipers off the bench, and certainly hope to see him continue to get that game time that he so deserves. My fourth and final player is from the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. It's Trey Kell III, the US import. Again, on a high-quality team where, just due to how good a seasons Mitch Creek's having, Alan Williams, even at times Kyle Adnam, Ryan Brockhoff, Zochi, there's a lot of talent on this team. And I think Kell's almost gone under the radar because of that, which I don't think he would mind. He's averaging 13 points, 3.5 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal a game, shooting 36% from 3. I think he's been a bit of an unsung hero, especially through that middle third of their season. They really made a hefty charge up the standings. We're running a pretty incredible winning streak there. Since come back down to earth a little bit. They're riding a 4-game losing streak. Currently sitting at 12-11 on the season, 6th in the standings. So if the season were to end today, they're currently holding a playing spot. As I said, though, Melbourne United, Perth, Wildcats there, they are really hot on the heels of the Phoenix there. So I think if they're to make the play, which given the squad they've got, I think is a bare minimum, he's going to have to be big and continue to flourish, continue to stand up in key moments, especially over the last couple of weeks and the last couple of games. I think hence why they've suffered a couple of losses. It almost feels as if it's Mitch Creek or bust. But yeah, I think for them to go deep, a lot's going to hinge on what Kell can provide for them. I still think, he's got another level to give. As I said, 13, 3.5 rebounds, 3 assists, steal a game. I think if you could get those numbers up to, let's say 16, 4 and 4, you're going to have a hell of a lot better chance of winning these games in the clutch. They've just looked a little bit out of sorts as of late. And it's kind of now or never for them. You know, as I said, Perth have got some momentum. Melbourne United are making a very late push for it. But, you know, if the Phoenix don't get a wriggle on, they've got coming up the Bullets, Jackjumpers and Perth. I think you'd want to get at least two. You'd want to get 2 wins out of that. You'd want to. The Bullets is an absolutely must-win game. That one coming up next Monday. But then they've got to play Tassie and Launceston here, and then the Wildcats, followed by the Taipans and Kings to round out their season. So they play. What do we got there? Yeah, okay. They're in trouble. They're in trouble unless they win at least 2 of these next 3 games, I think, just with how close the standings are. Just for a little bit of context, the Jackjumpers in Adelaide, so this is starting at 4th place. The Jackjumpers in Adelaide currently sit at 11 and 10. So that's 4th and 5th. The Southeast Melbourne Phoenix sit in 6th position at 12 and 11. The Perth Wildcats sit at 10 and 10 on the season. Melbourne United at 11 and 12. So a couple of teams have played a few more games than their respective counterparts, but on win percentage from 4th through to 8th, there's only 4% separating them. 52% the Jackjumpers in Adelaide, 48% for Melbourne. So that's just illustrating how close it is in this season. As I said, a couple of weeks to go, so certainly some exciting things still to play out. Every game almost feels like a must-win now, but exciting stuff there. Guys, just recapping that, my four of the most underrated players in the league in my mind are Isaiah Liafa, Angus Glover, Isaac White, and Trey Kell, the third from the Phoenix there. I tell you what, it was awesome to be back today. Just a quick, brief little episode, getting back in touch with the NBL after a little layoff here. Super excited to have ball back in our lives. I will say it was nice to wind down over the Christmas period a little bit, over New Year's. I was still, as my partner Annabelle would attest, checking my phone, watching games regularly. But now certainly dialing that up again to 110%. So certainly be sure to stay up to date with all of our socials. Subscribe wherever you listen to the show, whether you're a YouTube watcher, an Apple podcast, a Spotify listener, or any other leading podcast provider. Subscribe wherever you listen to the show so you never miss another episode. This week, myself, Rowan Lee, will be dropping another episode late Friday night. It'll come out for the NBA there, just discussing our mid-season, I guess, our start of season predictions, how it's tracking along mid-season there in the standings, followed up by next week the West. So be sure to tune into that one. Big things coming. As I said, the hunt towards, I guess it's not the hunt, it's the final stretch towards the play-in and playoffs now for the NBL is certainly ramping up. So I'll be here week in and week out, keeping you up to date with all the latest news and all the drama as it unfolds. Till then, guys, take it easy, have a fantastic week, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye.